Watch this same backhand tier, two different paddles. The contact point shifts, and if you miss it, your whole rhythm falls apart. Hi everyone, I'm Xiao Han, and today we're tackling a question I hear all the time. During a backhand rip, exactly when should you make contact with the ball? Let me rally with my partner so you can see. Watch closely. When both of us are ripping at the same time, notice which contact point I'm choosing. I'm meeting the ball right here, at the top of the bounce. Now watch what happens when I change the timing. The whole rhythm shifts immediately, and it feels awkward and forced. That contact point is everything. It determines whether you're borrowing your opponent's energy or generating your own. Throughout this lesson, I'll show you both approaches, the borrowed force rip and the active force rip, and teach you a simple counting rhythm that keeps your backhand exchanges continuous and consistent. So what's the actual difference between an active force rip and a borrowed force rip? When you're borrowing force, the key is to prioritize friction, brushing the ball rather than hitting through it. Watch this. When my partner drives hard, I do not add my own power. My hand stays out in front, and the stroke is tiny. I just graze the ball, that's all it takes. See that action? Do not pull your hand back to wind up, because the moment you do, the incoming speed jams you. You get completely stuck. The fix is simple. Keep your hand forward, keep the movement small, and let friction do the work. Watch, I just graze it, brushing lightly each time. I'm borrowing my opponent's speed and spin, and redirecting it right back. The more you pull your hand back, the more you get jammed. Keep the hand forward, stay compact. Now, notice the difference. The power comes from the fingers, guiding the racket head forward with a small rotation. The stroke stays compact. I crouch down slightly and borrow my partner's force. Borrow, borrow, borrow. I'm using their energy, not mine. The key point: hand stays in front, movement stays small, and contact is mostly friction. If you hit flat, the ball pops off the racket on the second shot. You lose control instantly. Now, when does active force come in? When the incoming ball is low quality, slow, shallow, sitting up like this. That's your invitation to rip with your own power. Watch me switch to an active rip now. See where I'm standing? I've moved further back from the table. Compare that to borrowed force ripping. Watch how close I stand to the table. The stance is tight, compact, right up against the end line. When you rip with active force, you must step back because your swing is bigger. You need space to complete the stroke. So when you're ripping with active force, where does the power actually come from? The forearm. Watch me rip in slow motion here. See the forearm snap forward. The forearm is the primary engine. Let me show that again. The forearm drives outward and slightly upward through the ball. It's not a big shoulder swing, and it's not just the wrist. The forearm accelerates from a bent position, extending rapidly toward the ball at contact. What the forearm really controls is the outgoing speed of the ball. When you snap the forearm through, you're converting that rotational energy into pace and spin simultaneously. Keep the wrist firm but relaxed. It fine-tunes the racket angle at contact, but doesn't generate the main force. Good. Now let's move on to the single most important element of backhand play. Let me demonstrate with my partner. We'll rip a few together so you can see this clearly. Watch my body as we exchange. This principle comes up constantly in my coaching because it's the one thing that separates consistent players from everyone else. Pay close attention to the rhythm of my movement between each shot. The most important thing on the backhand is rhythm, what I call rhythmic flow. It's not about how hard you can hit. Everyone's power capacity is different, and not everyone can generate the same force. That's fine. What matters is your ability to sustain a consistent, repeating rhythm. Think about why so many players make errors in backhand rallies during matches. Watch, I'll imitate a common mistake. See that? The stroke looks stiff and disconnected. Without that rhythm, you're constantly mishitting, either getting jammed or lunging forward and losing your balance. Watch what happens. The first shot lands here, the second creeps forward to here, and by the third shot I'm practically on top of the table with no room left. I've squeezed out all my own space. Rhythm means two things working together: timing and space. Here's what bad rhythm looks like in a match. You're swinging wildly, your center of gravity pops up, you're wobbling side to side, your feet are floating. After one big shot, your whole body splays open, completely out of position. See how the ball just bumps back with no quality? That's what happens without rhythm. After you serve, your body has to stay in a ready, settled position. When I was first learning the backhand, my coach drilled this into me: count it out. Watch on every backhand drive, don't just swing and freeze. You want a continuous pulse. 1 2 1 2 1 2. My coach used to make me count out loud. I'd be more exhausted from counting than from hitting. But that's how you build internal rhythm. In your mind, you're thinking 1 2 1 2. Watch the knees and the toes, just a small bounce. A subtle weight shift, nothing exaggerated. 1 2 1 2. If you keep that pulse going, 1 2 1 2 1 2, look how smooth the whole sequence becomes. 1 is always the stroke. 2 is always the recovery. That's why professional players never look awkward. Their body state is always correct because they're constantly resetting. When we club players lose form, especially in matches, it's because our feet never arrive, our body never resets, and we're swinging with just the arm. Of course it looks ugly, and of course the ball has no quality. That frozen moment happens because your body state was never ready. Fix that and everything flows.